A bunch of changes have hit the Rift in 14.13, but will they be enough to shake up the existing meta? Let's find out with our top champions we recommend for you in the current patch. Wasting no time, up first in the top lane, there were fairly few changes. However, a new champion has found his place as a solid counterpick to the Apex Skarner champion, and that is Mordekaiser. Mordekaiser had his time at the top for a while post rework, and then slowly faded away due to matchups like Camille and Vayne becoming popular. But with Skarner being an S tier pick top lane, Mordekaiser has come up as a viable counter with his ability to tank all of Skarner's spells, abuse his lack of mobility, and spare his teammates from impale by taking Skarner into the Death Realm. There is a catch to this matchup, however. As Mordekaiser, you will win the first 6 levels, but once Skarner gets his first completed item of full MR, whether it be Koenig Rucken or Hollow Radiance, this matchup becomes stale until 2 or 3 items deep. The reason we are telling you this is so that you know you can't just brute force your way into winning the lane, but you must abuse early game and then not get frustrated when you have to slow down and scale. Eventually, you will outdamage Skarner and become a menace, taking anyone into the Death Realm for a free solo kill. Now, other than Mordekaiser, no other top laner stands out above the crowd that we haven't mentioned before. Camille is still really good as a scaling tank-killing carry. Vayne is great as a ranged top that can abuse melee matchups, and Skarner is the definite tank of choice when it comes to tankiness, CC, and engage. Now, all of the champs that we're covering in this video are of course just our recommendations. Click the link in the description below right now to sign up to GameLeap.com and actually master every single champion that we're covering in this video. We've got hundreds and hundreds of guides authored by challenger coaches for every role and scenario you can think up. We're talking about macro guides, champion-specific courses, laning deep dives, and more, so again, hit the link below right now to sign up. Mid lane is still pretty still, with Tristana being the god tier pick of the mid meta, so let's talk about the counters that have come up to beat her. First up, we have a returning ADC into the mid lane, Lucian. Lucian was also a slight counter to Tristana for a couple of reasons. One, he has the ability to poke her through the wave with Q, which eventually makes it to where Tristana doesn't have enough HP to all in, giving you the opportunity to dash in for a finish. And the second reason is if Tristana takes a leap of faith in, Lucian has the super fast combo to deal more damage than Tristana can early game. W auto auto, E auto auto, Q auto auto, with press the attack, and it's lights out. Some Lucian players, such as the esteemed Chovy himself, opt for taking barrier mid into the matchup to really shut down Tristana. With the ability to space and beat her at the all-in game, Lucian mid is a solid counterpick to Trist. The other counterpick to God herself is Ezreal mid. Just like Lucian, the primary goal of beating Tristana mid comes down to 2 factors: spacing and a strong early game. Ezreal is a beast at poking from afar, so he checks the box for spacing. And every good Ezreal player knows that if you get 5 passive stacks, you cannot lose any 1v1 early game, as you basically have a random bonus 40% attack speed for fun. Now, this matchup is a little bit trickier though, as Tristana can match your shove if you aren't positioning correctly in lane. Levels 1 to 3, you should force your lane into a pushing state by spamming Q on the wave and not looking to harass. Once you crash the wave, you can then look for poke Qs. Now, you must keep the lane prio, or else Tristana will hide behind her caster creeps to avoid Qs and jump on you when she sees the chance. If you were to lose lane prio, be ready to react to her jump by Eing backwards and WQ upon landing. This will let you get off some quick burst before leaving the trade. Other than that, just scale up and play range. For ADC, Miss Fortune randomly got an insane steroid buff to her W, making her easily one of the better ADCs in the pool once again. With better movement speed and a new scaling attack speed on her W, you can now go Kraken Slayer into crit for tons of damage output. Pair it alongside the meta engaged supports like Leona or Rel, and your R will one-shot enemies. And for the runners who are not caught in the wombo combo, your autos will finish them off just fine. This buff allows MF to beat her prior counters in-game, those being tanks. Dealing DPS outright was never Miss Fortune's forte, as she liked one-shotting squishies and being an ulti bot. Now she is unleashed, and with the current meta being Jinx, Kai'Sa, and Zeri, MF is going to be a terror to deal with. Another ADC on the come-up is none other than Xayah. While the buffs are not anything massive, the change in the super range ADC meta really lets Xayah sneak back into the pool. Don't get it twisted, playing Xayah into Zyra, Karthus, Tristana is not ideal, but versus bot lanes like Kai'Sa, Nautilus, again, when the enemy team drafts Skarner or other frontliners, Xayah can easily mow through that frontline with Kraken Navori. Xayah is also good because she enables Rakan to come back into the meta to deter engaged champions. The reason that makes Xayah viable again, honestly, is due to the versatility of what she can bring back into the game. Rakan, front to back, self-peel, etc. While you shouldn't be blind picking Xayah, it is good to note that she can be played again and is relatively strong. In the jungle, we have some new picks to talk about, as well as its counter, which has been a solo queue special for a while now. Zyra has been doing some gardening in the jungle lately, with the jungle buffs a few patches ago. With the meta revolving around double AD carry and heavy frontline, making space has become more valuable than ever. This is where Zyra jungle slots in perfectly. Most junglers right now are either fast AP clearing champs or simply hardcore tanks. Champions like Karthus and Brand can have their clear time matched with proper plant usage. You scale just as well alongside them, and you can be more annoying before, during, and after fights with plant poke setups. For junglers such as Sejuani and Skarner, getting Liandry's on Zyra and hitting just 2 plant autos really applies that burn, since each auto counts as single target. She may have just come out of nowhere, but if you keep up with the pro player around the world at all, Zyra is pick or ban right now. Now that we have shined a light on that problem, it is time to give you guys the counter to Zyra herself. Fiddlesticks has been the unsung king of solo queue. Abusing enemies' lack of coordination and surprising everyone with his ult, Fiddle strikes fear into champ select when picked. So now you are probably wondering, what is it that Fiddle does to counter Zyra? Well, he regens off of the plants. Zyra is a champion that clears fast, but is overall pretty weak to invades and invading. Fiddle's only issue is his lack of early game pressure, which is why he can scale up to 6 freely versus Zyra. If you watch enough videos, you can learn how to do the quickest jungle clear with Fiddle, which results in a 3-minute clear time. This allows for you to actually invade the Zyra, and if she fights back pre-6, she has no CC to cancel your W. Use this lead to get 6 fast and impact the map before Zyra can even play the video game. And that brings us, at last, to the forgotten role of the supports. Leona has become the queen on engaged supports recently with the new support build. If you want free LP as a support, rush tier 2 boots, either Tabbies or Merc Treads, and then get Warmogs. With those stats, you are basically the tankiest champion in the game. Pair it with Bloodsong as your support item, as every Q will proc it, and your teammates will deal a ton of damage while you peel for them in the front lines. Something you want to keep in mind when playing Leona, however, is knowing when to roam. Leona's weakness comes from not being able to play when the lane is shoved out. In these instances, try to either roam mid or look to crash the wave during dragons and grubs timers, play the map well, build the OP items, and collect the free LP. Alistair would be our next recommendation, as he is the OG counter to Leona. His ability to full-on negate Leona's kit with every ability he has is what makes it so hard for her to play. If Leona is in, you either Q if she engages on you or W her off your teammates. If Leona presses R, you can practically cleanse it with your own. You are both playing the same type of game, looking to fight in lane and then transition into playing the map for your team. This is a skill matchup when it comes to macro, but in terms of head-to-head, Alistair almost always beats Leona, and so now you know when to pick the bull. And with that, that is going to be all for this one. Now, which champions did we miss? Make sure to drop any busted champs you've been abusing in 14.13 in the comments down below. And as always, if you are looking to improve your game, make sure to sign up to GameLeap.com by clicking on the link down below at the top of the video description. Doing so will unlock your access to hundreds of LoL Challenger guides, authored by our team of in-house Challenger coaches. For now, thanks for watching, and we're going to catch all of you guys in the next one.